Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to bring you a battle between the two Planeswalker decks from Ravnica Allegiance. Over here we have Domri's deck and over there we have Dovin's deck. We'll be playing the best of 3 and we will roll to see who goes first. Domri gets Snake Eyes. Dovin gets 4 and somehow 4 is the winner, so Dovin will opt to go first. We'll draw 7. And in our hand is a Plains, Concordia Pegasus, Dovin's Automaton, Concordia Pegasus, Plains, and Plains. This isn't ideal, but the fact that even though we don't have blue, we can cast everything in our hand with what we have, does make it so that we should keep this hand. Domri will draw 7. Domri has a Sylvan Brush Strider, Mountain, Charging Warboard, Wrecking Beast, Clamor Shaman, and Mountain. We are missing one of our colors, and we only have 3 drops. I feel like we are actually probably going to be better off sending this back and hoping for a slightly better hand. Our second hand has a Forest, Ragefire, Mountain, Feral Maca, and Forest. This is kind of removal, but I think because we have all of our colors, we will keep this and we will send one of these forests back. Dovin opens with a Plains, and Dovin will pass the turn. Domri draws, gets a Forest, Domri will play the Mountain, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin will draw, we'll get a Senate Courier, we'll play the Plains, we'll tap both of the Plains and play a Concordia Pegasus, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri will draw, we'll get a Forest, we'll play the Forest, we'll tap both of these and play the Feral Maca, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, gets another Plains, we'll play the Plains, and then Dovin will attack with the Concordia Pegasus for 1. Domri can't block, we'll take 1 and then go down to 19. And on the second main phase, Dovin will tap 2 and play another Concordia Pegasus, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps, Domri draws, gets a Mountain, Domri will play a Forest, Domri will spend 2 mana, a red and a green, to play Ragefire, targeting the untapped Concordia Pegasus to do 3 damage to it. Dovin loses the Concordia Pegasus, and then Domri will attack with the Feral Maca for 2. Dovin takes 2 and goes to 18, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, gets a Dovin's Automaton, will play another Plains, and will tap all of the Plains, and play a Dovin's Automaton. It says as long as you control a Dovin Planeswalker, Dovin's Automaton gets +2/+2 and has Vigilance. We don't have that, but we will attack with the Concordia Pegasus for 1. Domri can't block, we'll take 1 and go to 18. And then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps, Domri draws, gets another Mountain. We are flooding hard here. We'll play the Mountain, and then we will tap a Mountain and a Force to do 3 damage to the Dovin's Automaton with the second Ragefire. Dovin loses the Automaton, and then Domri will attack with Feral Maca for 2. Dovin can't block, will take 2 and go to 16. And then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, gets a Chillbringer, we'll play a Plains, and then we will attack with the Concordia Pegasus for 1. Domri can't do anything, we'll take 1 and go to 17. And then Dovin will tap 4 Plains, and then play the Dovin's Automaton, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps, hopes not to draw another land, draws a Sylvan Brush Strider, and Domri will play a Forest, and then Domri will play with 3 mana the Sylvan Brush Strider, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin hopes to not draw another Plains, draws a Prowling Caracal, which isn't bad, and then Dovin will attack with the Concordia Pegasus and the Dovin's Automaton. Domri will offer a trade with the Sylvan Brush Strider. The trade happens, the Sylvan Brush Strider dies, Domri will take 1 from the Concordia Pegasus and go to 16. Dovin loses the Automaton. And then on the second main phase, we'll tap 2 and play the Prowling Caracal, and then we'll pass the turn. Domri untaps, Domri draws, hoping not to draw another land. Domri drew another land. Domri will play a Mountain, and Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, hoping to draw an island. Dovin draws an island. Dovin will play the island and then we'll tap 5 mana and play the Chillbringer It says flying when Chillbringer enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. We'll tap the Feral Macaw. The Feral Macaw gets tapped, and then Dovin attacks with the Prowling Caracal and the Concordia Pegasus for 4. Domri can't do anything. We'll take 4 and go to 12, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, hoping to draw something that's not a land. It's not bad. Domri will play a forest, and then we'll tap 5 mana and play the Rampaging Red Horn, and we'll put a +1/+1 counter on it, making it a 5/5, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a Code of Constraint. Dovin will tap 3 mana, 1 blue and 2 white, to play Code of Constraint, targeting the Rampaging Rendhorn. It says target creature gets -4, -0 until end of turn, draw a card. If you cast a spell during your main phase, which we did, tap that creature and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. The Rendhorn is tapped. Also, the Feral Macaw would not have untapped this turn. Dovin draws a card off the card's effect. It is a 10th District Veteran. And then Dovin will attack with every creature for 7 damage. Domri takes 7 to go to 5. And then on the second main phase, Dovin will tap 3 and play the 10th District Veteran, and Dovin will pass the turn. Domri taps the Feral Macaw. The Rampaging Redhorn can untap next turn. We'll also untap the rest of these lands. And then we will draw. Dovin draws another Feral Macaw. Dovin will tap 2, play the Feral Macaw, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets another Senate Courier. I forgot to untap the rest of these, so we'll do so. And then Dovin will attack with the Chillbringer, the Concordia Pegasus, the Prowling Caracal, and the 10th District Veteran, which says when 10th District Veteran attacks, untap another target creature you control. We'll untap the Chillbringer for a total of 9 damage. Domri will block the Prowling Caracal and the 10th District Veteran with both Feral Macaws. We'll trade with the left Feral Macaw and we'll lose the right one. And we'll take 4 damage from the remaining creatures to go down to 1. Dovin loses the Feral Macaw. And then on the second main phase, Dovin will tap 2 and play a Senate Courier, and Dovin will pass the turn. Domri will finally untap the Rampaging Rendhorn. Domri will draw, gets a Burn Bright. That is quite useless, so Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets an Elite Arrestor. Dovin will give the Senate Courier Vigilance using its ability, and then will attack with the Concordia Pegasus, the Chillbringer, and the Senate Courier. Domri, having flooded out this game, has no recourse but to take all of the damage in the air and perish. And the first game will go to Dovin Bond. We'll be right back for game 2. Domri, having lost the first game and itching for a rematch, will choose to go first. We'll draw 7 cards. Domri has a Mountain, Forest, Mountain, Stony Strength, Charging, Boar, Sylvan Brush Shredder, and Rage Fire. This is a much better hand than last time, so we will keep this. Dovin draws 7. Dovin gets a Prowling Caracal, Windstorm Drake, Dovin's Automaton, Azorius Gate, Island, and Concordia Pegasus. This is actually a fairly low CMC hand, so I think that this is worth keeping, so we will also keep this. Domri will start with a Forest, and then we'll pass the turn. Dovin will draw. We'll get a Plains, we'll play an Azorius Guildgate tapped, and then we'll pass the turn. Domri draws, gets a Forest, Domri will play a Mountain, and Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, gets another Plains, we'll play the Plains, and then we'll tap both the Plains and the Azorius Guildgate to play a Prowling Caracal, because it is 3/1, and we hope to get as much damage in while these things are still useful, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri draws, gets a Zertog Goblin. Domri will play a Forest, and then Domri will tap the Forest and the Mountains to play the Zertog Goblin, giving it a +1/+1 counter, making it a 3/3, realizing that we have a Stony Strength as a trick that we can use to take out the Prowling Caracal while also making the Zertog Goblin stronger. And then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, gets an Island. Dovin will play the Island, and then thinking that this is a worthwhile trade and that we have a Prowling Caracal as a follow-up, we will attack with the Prowling Caracal. Domri will block, and then we'll play the Stony Strength, putting a +1/+1 counter on the Zertar Goblin, making it a 4/4. Dovin realizes he miscalculated and loses the Prowling Caracol. On the second main step, Dovin will tap the plains and the island and play another Prowling Caracol, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Clamor Shaman. Domri will play a Mountain, and then Domri will attack with the 4/4 Zertar Goblin. Dovin will decline to block and take 4 to go to 16. On the second main phase, Domri will tap 3 mana and play the Clamor Shaman, and then we'll give it Riot, making it a 2/2, and when it attacks, target creature opponent controls can't block this turn. And then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a Plains. Dovin will play the Plains, and then Dovin will tap all 4 mana and play the Dovin's Automaton. Recognizing the Clamor Shaman's potential to do a lot of damage, Dovin is going to hold back his creatures. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Forest. Domri will play the Forest, and then Domri will tap a Mountain and a Forest to cast Ragefire, targeting the Dovin's Automaton to do 3 damage to it. The Automaton perishes. Then Domri will tap 3 more mana and play the Charging Warboar. It has haste. And then Domri will attack with the Charging Warboar, the Zertar Goblin, and the Clamor Shaman, making the Prowling Caracol unable to block for a total of 9 damage. Dovin cannot block, will take 9 damage to go to 7, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets an island. Dovin will play the island, will spend 5 mana and play the Windstorm Drake, which is a 3/3. It has flying, and other creatures you control with flying have +1/+0. That has no effect. And then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Gravelhide Goblin. Domri will attack with the entire team and will make it so that the Prowling Caracol cannot block in order to force the chump for the Windstorm Drake. Dovin sees that Dovin can only survive by trading the Windstorm Drake with the Charging Warboar, and so he will do so, and then will take 6 damage to go to 1. Domri loses the Charging Warboar, and then on the second main phase, we'll tap out to play both the Gravelhide Goblin and the Sylvan Brush Strider, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, draws, hoping for not a land, draws a land. Dovin will play the Azorius Guildgate tapped. Dovin will tap the plains and an island and play a Concordia Pegasus, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Ragefire. Domri will tap 2 mana, play the Ragefire, targeting the Prowling Caracol to do 3 damage to it. The Prowling Caracol dies. Triumphantly, Domri will swing with everybody, using the Clamor Shaman's ability to keep the Concordia Pegasus from blocking and doing way more than 1 damage, and handily defeating Dovin Bond. This is what happens when one deck floods and the other deck doesn't. Again, we'll be right back for game number 3. Dovin, hoping for first turn advantage again, will go first, and will draw 7. Dovin gets a Code of Constraint, Prowling Caracol Island, Windstorm Drake, Senate Courier, Dovin's Automaton, and Concordia Pegasus. 1 land will never do, and so we will ship this back. Dovin now gets a Prowling Caracol Plains, Prowling Caracol Code of Constraint, Azorius Guildgate, 10th District Veteran, and Dovin's Automaton. This is considerably better because we can play most of our cards, minus 2 of them. We'll take the Dovin's Automaton and put it at the bottom just because we don't know if we'll get the 4 mana this game. Domri draws 7. Domri gets a Mountain, Bulwark Clan Crusher, Sylvan Brush Strider, Burn Bright, Mountain, Mountain, and Ragefire. We can only cast 1 of the cards in our hand that we really care to cast, so I don't think this is actually a keepable one. We'll return this and hope for a better 6. Domri's second hand has a Charging Warboar, Forest, Axebane Beast, Ragefire, Forest, Gruul, Guildgate, and Ragefire. This is a much better hand. We will keep this, and then we will put the Charging Warboar at the bottom of the deck. Dovin will start by playing an Azorius Guildgate tapped. Domri will draw, get a Feral Macaw, will play a Gruul Guildgate tapped, and will pass the turn. Dovin untaps, Dovin draws, gets an island. Dovin will play the plains. We'll tap both the plains and the Guildgate and play a Prowling Caracol. And then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps and Domri draws. Gets a mountain. We'll play the mountain. We'll tap the Guildgate and the mountain and play the Feral Macaw. And then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws. Gets an Elite Arrestor. Dovin will play the island. And then Dovin will attack with the Prowling Caracol. Domri thinks this is a good trade. We'll offer the Feral Macaw. In response, Dovin will tap everything and then play Code of Constraint, giving the Feral Macaw -4/-0 until end of turn, and we'll draw a card. We draw an island, and then the Prowling Caracol will eat the Feral Macaw after a cat fight. The Macaw goes down, and Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a mountain. Domri will play the forest, and Domri will spend 2 mana to Rage Fire that Prowling Caracol to death. Prowling Caracol dies, and Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a Concordia Pegasus. Dovin will play the island. Dovin will tap everything, and will play the 10th District Veteran and the Elite Arrestor, and Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Zertog Goblin. Domri will play a mountain, and then Domri will tap everything to play Axebane Beast, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, getting a Dovin Architect of Law, which we cannot cast yet. Dovin sees a combo and will spend a white and a blue mana to tap the Elite Investor to tap down the Axebane Beast. The Axebane Beast gets tapped. And then Dovin will attack with the 10th District Veteran using its ability to untap the Elite Arrestor. Domri has no blockers, we'll take 2 and go to 18. And then on the second main phase, Dovin will tap 2 more mana and play the Prowling Caracol, and Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, getting a forest, we'll play the forest. And then Domri will spend 2 mana to play the Zertog Goblin, putting a +1/+1 counter on it, making it a 3/3. And then Domri will spend 2 more mana to play Rage Fire, targeting the Elite Arrestor, dealing 3 damage to it to kill it. The Elite Arrestor goes down, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a Sphinx's Insight. Dovin will tap out and cast Sphinx's Insight. It says draw 2 cards, and if you cast a spell during your main phase, you will gain 2 life. We'll gain 2 life to go up to 22, and we'll draw 2 cards. We'll get a Senate Courier and an Azorius Guildgate. We'll play the Guildgate tapped, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Borak Clan Crusher. Domri will play the forest and will tap out to play the Borak Clan Crusher, and then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a plains. Dovin will play the plains. Dovin will tap everything but 1 mana to play the Senate Courier and the Concordia Pegasus, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a Gravelhide Goblin. Domri will pay 2 mana to play the Gravelhide Goblin, and Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets an island. Dovin will play the island. Dovin will tap everything but 1 and play Dovin, Architect of Law. He'll enter the battlefield with 5 loyalty counters, and then we will immediately +1 to 6 to gain 2 life to go up to 24 and draw a card. We draw a Chillbringer, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps. Domri draws, gets a mountain. Domri will hold the mountain to bluff, and then Domri will attack with the Gravelhide Goblin, the Axebane Beast, and the Borak Clan Crusher. All of them targeting the Architect of Law. Dovin will block the Axebane Beast with the Senate Courier and will double block the Gravelhide Goblin with the Concordia Pegasus and the 10th District Veteran. In response, Domri will pump the Gravelhide Goblin, making it a 4/3, and will deal more damage to the 10th District Veteran. That's a trade. The 10th District Veteran goes down. Dovin will take 4 damage and go down to 2 loyalty counters. Domri will lose the Gravelhide Goblin, and then Domri will pass a turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a Spirit of the Spires. Dovin will immediately +1 to go to 3 loyalty. We'll gain 2 life to go up to 26 and draw a card. We will get a Plains. We'll play the Plains, and then we will spend 5 mana and play the Chillbringer, which will tap down the Bulrak Clan Crusher, and it won't untap during the next turn. And then Dovin will tap a Guildgate and a Plains to give the Senate Courier Vigilance, and will attack for 1 with Senate Courier. Domri takes 1 and goes to 17, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps and hopes to draw gas. Draws a Feral Macaw, which is not quite gas, and will tap 2 mana and play the Feral Macaw, and will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets a Windstorm Drake. Dovin will +1 himself to gain 2 more life, going up to 28, and drawing a card, which is a Concordia Pegasus. We will spend 5 mana to play the Windstorm Drake, giving all the flying creatures +1/+0, and then we will spend 2 more mana to play the Concordia Pegasus, and then we will attack with the Concordia Pegasus and the Chillbringer for 6 damage. Dovin can't block, will take 6 and go to 11, and then Dovin will pass the turn. Domri untaps, draws, does not think that he can keep up with Dovin's card advantage with flooding out on lands. Seeing that he is unable to block, Domri will attack Dovin Bond, Architect of Law, with the Bulrak Clan Crusher, the Axebane Beast. Dovin will block the Bulrak Clan Crusher with the Senate Courier and the Concordia Pegasus, and will let 3 damage through from the Axebane Beast. Domri will assign more of the damage to the Senate Courier, and will lose the Clan Crusher and trade for it. Dovin loses the Senate Courier and will take 3, reducing the loyalty to 1 on the Architect of Law. And then Domri will pass the turn. Dovin untaps. Dovin draws, gets an island. Dovin will +1 to go to 2, will gain 2 more life to go up to 30, and will draw a card. That is the Azorius Knight Arbiter. Will play the island, and then Dovin will attack with the Concordia Pegasus, the Chillbringer, the Windstorm Drake, and the other Concordia Pegasus for 11 damage in the air. Domri cannot block anything and will take 11 and perish in a brutal game. Dovin wins 2 of 3, and the card advantage game ends up winning for him in the final match. Let me know what you thought about these games, and if I made any major play or rules errors. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. Next time, I'll be bringing you a battle between these 2 decks and the Face the Hydra Challenge deck from Theros. Until then, this is Refresh, and thanks for watching.